Toddler Phonics Part 3 Foundations in Letter Formation. In this video, you will learn how to teach toddlers the basics of letter formation, tools, techniques and activities for writing practice. Pre-writing activities: pouring, using a dropper, stirring, sponging. All these will develop a child's fine motor skills, strengthen the fingers and develop writing tool holding strength. Pouring activities. Take 2 containers with handles. You could use a cup or a small jug or a mug with a handle, but make sure it is something that doesn't break. Put grain into one of the containers and get your child to hold it and pour it into the other container. Then the child pours it back into the first container. Let the child do this repeatedly. It will strengthen the fingers and develop the child's gripping skills. The next activity is using a dropper. Now, while the previous activity strengthened the whole hand, this strengthens the fingers, especially the index, middle and thumb finger, which are used in holding a writing implement. Give the child a small container with water. Colored water is attractive, and get the child to use a dropper and transfer the contents into another small bowl. Stirring is another good activity. Put some grain into a bowl and get your child to stir using a stirrer. Sponging, another very good activity where the child has to transfer liquid from one bowl to another using a sponge. Begin with a whiteboard marker. It is big and allows the child to grip it with ease. From the very beginning, focus on good pencil grip. Notice how the index finger, middle finger and thumb are used to hold the marker. Then get the child to make shapes on a bowl of rice, wheat or all-purpose flour. The bowl or tray should be fairly big so that you can spread out the flour properly. Here are proper finger grip, pencil grip for the left-handed child and the right-handed child. Begin correcting the finger grip from the very beginning and always begin with a thick writing tool like a whiteboard marker. Another very good activity is to use an old newspaper and then get your child to make strokes on them. Fold the newspaper and then get your child to make strokes. You write the initial stroke and then your child has to imitate it. Then get your child to unfold and keep making strokes, writing strokes on different strips of the folded paper. This is an activity that children love. It is cheap and very, very useful. Scribbling on a whiteboard or on a newspaper or chart paper pasted on a wall is also a very good activity. The child should take a whiteboard marker and scribble and do whatever it wants. Again, this strengthens both the hand and the finger grip. Free scribbling and drawing on a blank sheet of paper, again with a whiteboard marker, is another very good pre-writing activity. Here are tracing boards. These are Montessori or preschool tracing boards made from wood. A little expensive. You could make them from cardboard and then give your child a jumbo crayon. Here the child has been given wooden tracing pencils. So put this on a white sheet of paper and get your child to trace. It's an activity that children love. Here is another tracing board for toddlers. Here you have the wooden pencil and the child has to trace these shapes. Then we move on to tracing on a sheet of paper. Notice how we get the child to trace with jumbo crayons, and these strokes have not been put in a frame. What do we mean by a frame? A frame would be a line drawn so that the child stays within those two lines. Initially, we don't give the child that line because we don't want to inhibit the child's stroke tracing. Now, once the child is comfortable tracing on these strokes, you could move to strokes that have been given within a frame. The frame is these two lines. So these two lines would actually force the child to keep the tracing within those two lines. Here is another good activity where the child traces the letter on wooden boards. Again, these are a little expensive, so it is your choice, not mandatory. Then we have letter formation, the uppercase, where the child follows the arrow marks. Notice how first the child traces the letter without a frame, and then we have a frame where these two lines now control the movement of the hand. Then we go to the lowercase, beginning first without a frame, getting the child only to trace the shapes that make up the letter and then going to the letter. So let's go back to the tracing. Notice how all these shapes, all these strokes are associated with the letters that we initially want to teach the child. A uppercase and A lowercase. So stick to strokes that are needed for the formation of particular letters. Then we get the child to write both the uppercase and the lowercase and juxtaposition both. It's a good idea to teach both together because from the very beginning the child has an understanding that both these letters have the same name and the same sound, and they are a pair. Please go to the website cft.in, go to the download section, click on others, and you will get very useful preschool guides and templates that you could use to teach your child. Below this video, you will find links to websites that have interesting preschool activities. Thank you.